Good evening, and welcome to Founders District, Founders Lead 2022. Tonight's workshop is called Finishing Strong. I'm AJ Heron, and I'm part of the Founders Lead 2022 workshops for you, the emerging leader. Whether you're an emerging leader at the club level, at the area level, at the division level, or even at the district level. We are here tonight to explore ways that you can finish strong with your clubs and make a better district all the way around. I am joined tonight with some of the cornerstones of Toastmasters, people that I regard very highly. That would be all of you and a few special guests. Please welcome Roz Carter, who is a past region advisor. She's waving to you right now. She's a past region advisor. She has been a district director. She has been a division director. And Roz, unmute and tell us what you're doing right now.
I'm an area director for the second time.
Exactly. Area directors are truly the front line of the over 40 people that support the Founders District and districts around Planet Toastmasters. So when we talk about emerging leaders, it starts at the top with the district director. And then it goes to our next guest this evening, the program quality director of Founders District, Julie Murphy. Please unmute, say hello to everyone, and tell them how you finished strong at this point.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think one of the best tips, as our former district director, Christine Brady, says, is keep the main thing the main thing. It is a busy time of the year, but really keep your eye on the prize and that membership experience. And if you keep your eye on the prize and cultivating a great experience for your members, you will finish strong.
Thank you, Julie. And now our next special guest is also from Founders District, and that is the Club Growth Director for Founders District. You saw her last month as part of our Finishing Strong workshop, as part of our Founders Lead workshop series, when she did We Build New Clubs. Kathy Hughes, please unmute, say hello to everybody and tell them how you finish strong right now.
Hello, everyone, and finishing strong in the last 90 days of the Toastmasters year is such a challenge, but I feel empowered by the realization that we've always got our core values to guide us as we get through the last 90 days and our district mission. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And that is really the key to finishing strong this year, is to support those clubs, get their membership back to their charter strength again, and build the new clubs that are going to come and add additional vibrancy and health to our district.
Thank you, Kathy. At the start of our year, Founders District Director David Hosmer started 2022 with the word elevate. By elevating our members, we elevate our clubs, our areas, our divisions, and our district. When we do this, we create a momentum of excellence that carries us through our Toastmasters year to finish strong with stronger members, stronger clubs, stronger areas, stronger divisions, and a stronger, better Founders District. I'm here this evening to take David's words and show how you can elevate your club and your members for an elevating educational experience. I'm also here tonight with a very special guest, and that is Frank Chang from Broadly Speaking Toastmasters. You see him with the colorful background. Frank, please unmute if you would, and tell us a little bit of the history of Broadly Speaking.
The history of Broadly Speaking. Wow, that must be a love story. The club was chartered in the year of 2010, October 18th. Originally, there was 3 different buildings, and these 3 buildings accommodate about 300 or 400 people. But these 3 buildings, they never talk to each other. This magic day, October 18, because of Broadly Speaking Charter, these 3 building employees start to talking to each other. They're making friends. They made this company more exciting every week. They are expecting this Toastmaster meeting to know each other. That is how the journey begins. Quick forward, couple years later, Emulex acquired by Broadcom. And we all back to the big telecom companies. Originally, this club was the company owned, and we opened to the community. What made this club special? Most of the club members, we are all engineers. We have the common job, and we have the common subject to talking to the engineer. That's the common area we have. As you can see my hair right here, for the engineer, we actually call this aerodynamic. So that's the different point of view. Years after, I believe you and me all remember, 3 years ago, something changed the world, the pandemic. But this actually gave us the great opportunity to increase our club. And nowadays, we have more members around the world. More than 1/3 of the members, they are from the different regions. We have members from Canada, different members from Australia. The great point right here is we all learn from each other. We break a distance, and every week we stay here to share our life experience. This is what we have in Broadly Speaking nowadays. And I'm very happy to be here today to share with you my joy and also to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. So Broadly Speaking right now is a club that, as you heard from Frank, started as a corporate club. And as Kathy Hughes will share with us, went through some tough times. But Kathy Hughes was the area director tasked with keeping Broadly Club alive. Kathy, can you unmute and tell us a little bit about those days?
It was such a fight in those days to stay relevant as a club. And we wanted to get back to that charter strength, that excitement that we had back when we first chartered that club in 2010 with over 30 members. And we dwindled down to under 12. I was approached by potential club coach wannabes that were going to volunteer their help. But I said, no, I'm the area director. I've got this. It's my club. And we fought that year and we brought it back to health and vowed that by opening the club, we would be able to bring in the Broadcom, legacy Broadcom members into this Emulex club. It was at that point we changed the name to Broadly Speaking so that we could attract those Broadcom members. And it went on from there. It was such an exciting journey.
Thank you, Kathy. It's this time of year when we talk about finishing strong. Many times we get into contest season and we make it through the contest. And now all of a sudden we're exhausted. We've had enough. We made it through the contest, but we don't realize that at the club level, at the area level, at the division level, and at the district level, we are running a relay race. Imagine, if you will, that my pen is a baton that I am running with, and I am getting ready to hand it off to the next leader that's going to take it. Will it be you? Reach forward, if you would, right now, and take a look at reaching for that baton, the same way we do when we do a race. In reaching for that baton, you are taking the entire history of a club forward. So it's never over till it's over. And June the 30th is not when it's over. We're going to have Roz and Frank have a bit of a discussion now on what makes clubs great. Frank, why don't you tell us what you think makes, broadly speaking, great?
Yes, that's actually the favorite topic of me. Why we join Toastmaster? There are a couple of reasons. I believe the first reason is we want to improve our communication and leadership skills. The second goal we have is to make more friends. And the number three, that's the most important part, and that's keep all the members come back, is have fun. What made a club great? In each meeting, people are sharing their life experience. They are storytelling about their life. A lot of fun in that meeting. Do you remember the speech you ever hear from your members? That is the most valuable storytelling, the life sharing we have. Every time when I talk to different members, and it's always remind me what kind of a life experience he or she share with me, and I feel so joyful to learn from that experience. That is make the club great.
Thank you, Frank. And you know what makes clubs great for me? Having been in Toastmasters since 2005, I went through all the communication manuals. I made all the friends at work because it was a corporate club. And then after 10 years, it became a community club. But what makes it great is filling the roles of each meeting. We have club officers that we elect, and they're responsible for carrying out their leadership role. So leadership is a big part of what makes a club great for me. When the club leaders are trained and they're doing everything with the members to make sure they're engaged and excited, like you feel as club president, right? So we have leaders that are now carrying multiple batons, like AJ used as an example, to move forward and help all the members. But if the members are not engaged, if they're not attending, if they're not feeling the love from their club officers, then they may not be as excited about Toastmasters, right? So we have to keep engaging the members, want them to participate in the meetings, and have the leaders guide all of us through everything that we join Toastmasters for. I cannot do it alone, and each officer cannot do it alone. But when we come together, oh man, that's an exciting and fun club. Back to you, AJ.
Well, you know, that's so true. But for our audience that has come in, how do you feel about your club? I want you to take a second and put into the chat how you feel about your club. What makes your club great? How many members do you have coming to your club right now on a normal meeting? And Julie Murphy, I would like you to put in the chat, if you would please, the link to dashboards.toastmasters.com. Since we have people here from every single district that you could think of, we're going to show you how you can look at your club from a completely different perspective than you normally do. One of the first things we're going to look at is when you say your club is great, okay? You're saying your club is great all the time. Just this Sunday, we talked about the 3 A's of a great club experience. Sivan, are you still with us? Unmute and give us the 3 A's of a great club experience.
Acknowledge, appreciate, and ask.
Thanks, Sivan. Acknowledge, appreciate, and ask. We want to appreciate every single one of our members, because without our members, we'd be talking to ourselves. So we want to appreciate our members. And as I said on Sunday, I appreciate you are 3 words that are actually considered more powerful than I love you. So that when we appreciate our members feel that their time that they have spent with us is acknowledged. But the other thing is that we want to make sure that we're meeting their goals. And we can't meet their goals if we don't ask. So we want to appreciate, acknowledge, and ask to make a great club experience. The other thing we want to look at is something called the moments of truth. In your workbook, you're going to see on the 2nd page, the moments of truth. Now, this is a document that has been made. Right now, if you were to print this out, then obviously you can take your pen and you can do your moments of truth. But just for you here at Founders Lead 2022, we've made a fillable PDF that is going to be available to you as part of the pickup points for this evening. But in this moment of truth, you see things like, what is the first impression of your club? What is the membership orientation? What is the fellowship, variety, and communication that goes on at your club? How is your program planning and your meeting organization and your membership strength? Are you at 20 members? Are they all coming? And achievement recognition. Appreciate, acknowledge, and ask. If we are not acknowledging the wonders of our club at every meeting, we're missing a great opportunity. Wouldn't you say, Roz?
Yes, I had to unmute. Yes, it's a great opportunity for many people to face the truth, is what I sometimes refer it to, because there's great ideas floating around out there in the minds of our members. But until we ask them, how is our fellowship? How is our membership and program and recognition activities doing in the club? We might think, oh, well, it's the same old thing every meeting, every year. But somebody's going to notice something different. And the moments of truth allows you to take a peek into if you could improve something that already exists in your club, why not make a suggestion or two? And it opens up the dialogue with the officers and the members so that they could come together and make some improvements if necessary, or give kudos to all the wonderful things that are working extremely well.
Frank, when you start your meetings, do you recognize your members for what they have achieved since the last time you all got together?
Yes, that's very, very important. We have to celebrate the member achievement. That is very important part. We value the members' time. And we also love the members to share with their joy of their life. We celebrate each individual achievement, and we also helping them and push very hard to let them to complete all the education goals they're going to meet. That's the best part of the Toastmaster experience.
Perfect.
Yes, I agree. We are all busy. Sometimes we have different life goals, and we may be busy for this, busy for different type of life challenge. Sometimes we also want to enjoy ourselves, to focus on what exactly we are doing. This celebration will actually inspire members to make sure the club have the same goal and moving to the same direction. That is the very thing we love to do to celebrate the member achievement.
And when we celebrate, we also, as we talked about just a few days ago, we celebrate speaking outside of the club because it's a Toastmasters club. We're training to be able to speak outside of the club. How many of you spoke outside of the club this week? Please raise your hands. All of you have. If you spoke to anyone, you spoke outside of the club. If you're at work and you're asked to give a brief synopsis of what you were doing last week, otherwise known as a stand-up in the Agile community, you spoke outside the club. If you were at the Homeowners Association, yes, you spoke outside the club. But your ability to speak outside the club and to contribute effectively is what we practice within Toastmasters. So we need to celebrate that by starting every club meeting with who finished educationals that we want to celebrate and who spoke outside of the club. And we should be seeing, if you've got, who told me they had 12 to 15, Brenda, if you got 12 to 15 members attending, how many people should be telling you they spoke outside of the club?
12 to 15 people.
Okay. With this way, we elevate our members so that they connect and realize the value that they're getting working inside of the club. Okay. So I want you to take a minute and take a look in your workbook of that moments of truth. And Julie, if you can just run us a 1 minute time thing and do a quick checkbox on your moments of truth in your workbook. Okay. What do you see there? And then I want you to find one thing that you think your club could work on. Hi, Julie, very nice countdown clock. You have just really moved on. Everybody immediately looks at Julie's countdown clock. Very nice. So think about one thing that you see when you're looking at that moments of truth. Kathy Hughes is looking pretty serious. You didn't find more than one thing, did you, Kathy?
All right,
Brenda's
time
done.
is up.
Thank you. All right. So we'll start with Craig Johnson. Can you unmute and tell us what the item is that you looked at and said, we could probably do better at this?
One thing that we could really, I'm with Let's Say Anything. We have a small but mighty club. I really love our club. We've been a member there for about 2.5 years. We did a great job of transitioning from in-person to virtual in less than a week, which was just amazing to me. We're hoping to get back into hybrid. Of course, our secret weapon is that we have Christine Brady as a member. She's fantastic. She keeps us in line. We're doing great. The one thing we could do better is we only have 9 members right now. So I just came from our Tuesday evening meeting before coming here, and we had a discussion at the end about how we grow our membership over the next few months, and especially now that we're going to be going to a hybrid, hopefully real soon. So we're going to be looking to get back into that 20 member range as soon as possible. That's what I think we would benefit mostly from, is just having a more people attend our meetings.
Right. So now if you look at the next 2 pages in your workbook, page 3 has guests. Guests are not showing up to visit the club. Guests are not joining the club. What are some of the possible causes? And you see things like a guest book. Many people turn around and say, but I have the registration link from Zoom. Isn't that good enough? What do you say, Kathy Hughes?
That's one thing to capture information through the registration link of Zoom, but it doesn't capture everything you want to know. And when you have a real guest book that not only captures the name and the email, the phone number, but also what brought them to Toastmasters and what do they hope to gain if they join this club. Those are important things. Don't capture it in the Zoom link.
What do you think, Roz?
I agree with Kathy. I think we might take a snapshot of the participants list just to capture the names, but we don't have the follow-up information like email or phone number like we can if the meetings were in person. So why don't we expand, as long as we're doing hybrid and virtual meetings, why don't we expand that participant list or find a way to use the chat box to allow guests and members to say how they found us, when they joined, and what they liked about the meeting.
Perfect, Roz. I know that when our club comes together, the minute a member walks into the room, even though the member has come late, okay, and I'm talking about guests. If a guest arrives late, it's because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that Toastmasters has to start on time and end on time. All they know is that they found the link and they finally figured out how to connect and they're finally there. And what we do is, it doesn't matter where we're at in the meeting, we stop and say, Judy, you've joined our meeting. Welcome. Please unmute, turn your video on, and tell us what brought you to our meeting this evening. Judy.
Well, I met AJ Heron. Oh, I think I got an echo.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I met AJ Heron on Sunday at the District 100's Learning Lab. And she helped me, so I looked eagerly to more presentations from her.
Thanks, Judy. So when something like that happens, here comes a member or a guest. We've recognized the guest right away. We've got them oriented into our meeting so they feel like, all right, I'm here. I know what's going on. We've made sure that the agenda or the workbook has been uploaded in the chat so that the recently arrived guest knows what's going on. But we've also put in the link to the guest book. And we've also had each one of our members privately send a chat to Judy saying, Judy, thanks for coming. Welcome. We're glad to have you here in Founders District tonight. Okay. By showing that hospitality and by showing that recognition, we acknowledge the fact that the person has spent their time with us. We appreciate the fact that they're with us. And we ask what brought them to us so that we know how to best meet their needs, right? Linda Robinson, unmute and tell us what you found when you looked at your moments of truth.
Thank you very much for asking me. There are some glaring holes in our club's performance, even though I believe our club is a very high-performing club. As an example, we have very close to 20 members. We had 12 members online in our meeting Monday and 8 in the room. 2 of them were guests, 1 guest in the room, 1 guest online. So we have really good commitment and solid performance during our meetings. But I think our member orientation is lacking a little. And we don't recognize achievements, which I think is really important based on what we're discussing this evening. So I think those are 2 areas that it's really about focusing on the member, individuals' performance and achievements. I think that's what we should spend more time on.
Exactly. Frank, what are your thoughts for recognizing achievements with your members of Broadly Speaking?
Yeah, that's actually a very important part in the puzzle right here. The practice we try to follow up is on our club website, and we do have the page and put the member pathway progress. And then we celebrate for individual members when they complete each level, and we celebrate their achievement. We also put right there for the timeline. So the member will know when was their last achievement and what they are looking forward. That will be the way we try to motivate not only the member itself, but also the other members to moving forward.
Frank, did you bring your pathways chart with you tonight?
I didn't.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen for a second to show you, whoops, I'll share my screen in a second. I'm going to share my screen with you with a spreadsheet type of thing. If this isn't Frank's group, but it's a spreadsheet that I want you to consider. All right. So consider this spreadsheet that you see here. You see the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 of pathways. And I have upgraded it. I'm just showing you the spreadsheet as it showed for the pathways progress before we changed the educational system for level 1. So you see the icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, 1 and 2, the role of evaluator, and then the researching and presenting. And you see a series of dates. In column A, imagine this is a Toastmasters club that has 6 members that are actively participating. We're still under 8, but we're working hard as 6 members. And you see that this way, these members can see how they're progressing in pathways. When we talk about recognition, here is Toastmaster number 1. So we see their icebreaker, but what's really important here is I want you to look at column F, column G, and column H. That when they finally did their research and present speech on September 3rd of 2020, that we processed the award in pathways on September the 10th of 2020. We also processed it at the club level in Club Central. But we also celebrated it during the membership meeting on Zoom at that meeting. So this way, the president, the vice president of education, we are tracking along with the members so that every week we are actually looking at where everyone's at. And you see this beige presentation mastery. That means that that member committed to giving their icebreaker on that date, but they never followed through. Something went wrong. Okay. Do any of you think that something like this would help you, Linda, to take care of that recognition that you're looking for?
I think it would definitely. My opinion is that learning how to use the reports and pathways would help us prevent recreating the wheel. And I know that they do seem to be a little awkward to use, and maybe that's just a lack of understanding on my part. But I think for the sake of the Vice President of Education, using the tools that we have, not creating new ones, is probably a good idea. But there are resources available to us, including other members of the executive leadership team that could help. And I think the point you're trying to make is, where's the recognition? And the recognition, in fact, can be maintained and managed inside of pathways with certificates, with badges.
Exactly.
And if we spent more time on that, maybe we could do a better job. That's my thinking.
Or even doing something as simple as a virtual background. Here's a virtual background for a corporate club that I'm working with. Okay. For the president, we created a virtual background that incorporates the corporate logo, as you see over here, incorporates the role, okay, incorporates the president's pin, okay, and of course the Toastmasters logo. So something as simple as that, bringing in a new member, they start with the Toastmasters logo and the new membership pin. When they've actually picked their path, their virtual background now changes to one that shows the path that they picked along with the Toastmasters logo. Okay. So by pulling this through, now every single time the club comes together, they're actually wanting to be more and more involved because their background gives an idea of where they're at on their journey. They want to pick a path because they want to see the logo change to the icon of the path that they've selected. What an idea, right? And by recognizing this, we can work with the same types of recognition that we did when we were in person, but using Zoom to help us continue to move forward. Does that resonate with any of you? Does that seem to be something you would, well, Linda likes that. Okay, Linda. We made Linda smile and we made Frank give us a thumbs up. So that's great. We're at this point now where we're going to take a second for you to put into the chat what I call our whiteboard. So put in the chat any specific goals you wanted to achieve with tonight's workshop, or any questions you have so far of the first segment of material that we've shown. And if you don't have any, feel free just to put down your phone number and I'll call you later on, but truly. take a chance. And what's going to happen is Julie Murphy is going to be keeping a whiteboard off to the side where she's going to track to make sure that we've recognized all the things. But in your workbook, what you've had now is the opportunity to see how using the moments of truth every time your club comes together. Okay? Take that officer that isn't doing a role and have them work the moments of truth. Give them the fillable PDF and say, I'd like you to do this for me so that I have an idea as to what you saw while we were holding this meeting. Then when Roz Carter shows up as your area director and asks the question of the century, do you do the moments of truth? Your answer, we do it every meeting, Roz. Doesn't everybody?
We wish. I'd like to add that the Moments of Truth is an excellent workshop to take up an entire meeting. If you already mentioned it, I had to step away for a second, that members can fill out and send to the club president and make it a discussion piece for an entire meeting, because they will welcome the suggestions. It's not to say that somebody's doing something wrong. It's to make suggestions of how things can be done better.
You're absolutely correct. If we don't ask, we don't know. And that's the third A of the Great Club experience. Okay? We need to ask. All right. Linda Robertson asks, she would like to know how to work the moments of truth to make a change in the low-hanging fruit. Roz, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, there's always going to be low-hanging fruit. Districts experience this with prospective clubs that don't get chartered as quickly as we would like. So with the low-hanging fruit members, for example, there needs to be a couple of members or club officers assigned, if you will, to reach out to those that miss a meeting. Sometimes they think they're the only one who missed a meeting and nobody noticed, and that's sad. But when you get a phone call from someone and say, hey, we didn't see you at the last meeting, is everything okay? Or they say they're on vacation. Oh, I didn't know you were on vacation. I hope you had a great time. Just to make that connection, that personal touch to say, we missed you and we look forward to seeing you again at the next meeting. So they're low-hanging fruit because they miss a few times, but they might have good reason for it. If they don't, then the person who calls them, of course, will find out what the real reasons are, because we don't want to lose them. We'd like for them to return. I hope that answered your question, AJ.
It for me, and I see Linda Robinson shaking her head up and down. Linda counts more than me, so I think you answered the question. Craig Johnson asks, I'd like to talk a bit about how to make hybrid meetings successful. Craig, we're going to take care of that. So Julie's going to put that on the whiteboard. We're going to be talking a little bit about hybrid in a few minutes. Kathy Hughes says, amp up the last 90 days of the Toastmasters year with membership strength, educational achievements, recognition, and fun. You're right, Kathy, and we're going to talk more about how we bring out the pom-poms, recognize our members in a few minutes. Do we have any other things that we've missed at this point? Judy Van Arsdale says she belongs to several clubs, each with unique strengths, and that's the whole point. I actually had someone that said to me, why do you visit all the different clubs? I visit all the different clubs because I'm going to meet someone new every time I visit a club. I visited Frank's club today. And Frank, tell us a little bit about your club, when it met today, they actually used WebEx, which was a completely different experience for me. But Frank, tell me a little bit about how you greeted the guests when they came in, and how do you track your guest tracking and management of guests?
We are all human beings, and we love to see the guests. When we have a new guest, the very first question will be, what's your name and where you come from? We want to create some kind of a rapport between the guests and our club members. Today, we have the guests from Seattle, and we also have a guest from the East Coast, and he was originally in Southern California. So that create a lot of relationship we have from the past. That's the way at the beginning, we can engage with the guests and hoping they can participate in our meeting. That's also another part. We wish the guests can join and to participate, to share with their joy for the meeting.
They even ask at, broadly speaking, they have the prepared speech, and then they ask everyone that's there, including the guests, who would like to give some feedback on the prepared speech right then. So as a guest, you're in the deep end of the pool, and you have the opportunity to provide feedback. If you're a visiting Toastmaster, you know what positive, motivating feedback is. But if you're a guest and they had a guest, you just told him what he thought. Okay? And then afterwards, Frank, you closed the meeting and gavelled out. And I thought this was an interesting touch. He closed the meeting, gavelled out, and then he said, we're going to keep the connection up so we can talk to the guests after the meeting. Great.
Yes.
Great idea, Frank. Really great.
That's the best time we can refresh for the guests. And if they have any question regarding to our meeting, that will be the best time we can do the Q&A.
Roz likes it. She gave you a thumbs up. Kathy, tell us a little bit about guest tracking and each one, what I call each one bring one. What do you advise at this point of our finishing strong to bring guests to the meeting?
Well, AJ, we commit to bring guests to the meeting when we join a Toastmaster.